Hey guys, with Scream 4 having just came out 2 days ago, and I just found out there's a plan, Halloween 3 to follow Rob Zombie's Halloween. There's another Friday the 13th sequel planned, there's another Evil Dead. I mean, all these sequels. I thought I would talk about, like, horror movie franchises slash horror movie rules. Now, there are three Screams, and, you would think this one would have been the last one because it says the ultimate scream. The most terrifying scream is the last. A slam bang finish to this exceptionally clever trilogy, and it really says this is the last one all over it. I was very surprised when they announced that there was going to be a Scream 4. Now, we have all those franchises out there. We have all these Friday the 13th movies and Halloween. We have all these Halloween movies, and then we have, Nightmare on Elm Street, and this is really the rules of the horror movie, the, and if you've seen the Scream trilogy, you're gonna know a lot about this stuff. The first movie really defines the series, like what you're going to see in the movie. Like, when you first saw Halloween, it was going to be about, some psychopathic killer in a white mask, and this one was about killing babysitters. The rest of the movies were about him killing family members. That's really how the series went, right after the first one. And, and this really defines, the series. It sets the rules, and it just defines the series. This isn't the second one. The second one, the body count is bigger. The death scenes are much more bigger and elaborate. We have more blood, and if you want it to become a franchise, you never kill off any main characters or never reveal anything big in the second sequel. And again, I'm going to use Halloween. In the first Halloween, there was next to no blood. Halloween 2 has blood all over it. We have pools of blood. We have blood everywhere in Halloween 2. But considering Halloween was like a $300,000 budgeted movie, and Halloween 2 was like a $3 million budgeted movie, I guess you could expect more blood. And so sequels normally suck. Like, I don't like Scream 2, but like Godfather Part 2 was good. Aliens, the one after Alien was good. Empire Strikes Back was pretty good. Spider-Man 2, And then the third movie. The third movie, if this is a trilogy, if the first three movies follow the same storyline, like with the same characters, it's then you're dealing with a trilogy. If trilogies are very rare in horror films, but they do exist, and normally the third movie really directs back to something that we thought was true that isn't true, that we first found out about in the first movie. Godfather, Return of the Jedi, we all found out something that we thought was true that wasn't true. And trilogies aren't normally that good. I mean, usually by the third movie, you're expecting something really big and huge to be found out. I certainly didn't find anything out big in Scream 3. I mean, basically, I consider Scream 3 to be one of those movies where they went to the outer limits to try to continue the series. I mean, apparently, Wes Craven wasn't even going to make Scream 3, but studios ordered him to make this before he could make this other movie that he wanted to make. But trilogies, you normally find out something big. Sometimes it could be a fourth or a fifth movie, but trilogies rarely ever happen in horror movies. I mean, This isn't a trilogy. This is just the original movie and two sequels. It does follow the same storyline, but it doesn't have the same characters. Like, it does have Jason Voorhees, but it doesn't have Alice, and I can't even remember the other campers' names from the first movie, in the other two sequels. But horror movies also bend the rules. Like, Halloween. Again, I'm gonna use Halloween. Halloween is about Michael Myers killing babysitters. That is what the original Halloween is about. That is what Halloween should be about. The second movie, it makes it seem like Michael was doing all of that to find Laurie Strode and kill her, because we find out in the second movie, and this should have been something that should have been in the third movie if they would have done it right, that Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister. And that was totally unexpected. But John Carpenter wrote this, so I don't criticize it that bad, because the creator of the series wrote it this way. It wasn't some newcomer of a writer. And I mean, I actually kind of prefer Halloween 2 over the original. I mean, this one was definitely more scary to me than the first one when I first saw it. And I did see the second one before the first one, but Then the third movie, Halloween again bends the rules. The third movie doesn't even have anything to do with Michael Myers. The third movie is about like a Halloween store that like sells Halloween masks that like possess people and kill people. I mean, it's a good movie, but it has nothing to do with Halloween. And then we go to the fourth one, The Return of Michael Myers. In Halloween 2, Michael Myers was burned and destroyed. He was blown up. He was burned to ashes. In Halloween 4, they somehow make it seem like Michael Myers just suffered some major minor burns, and they just have him bandaged up. And he escapes, and now he's after Laurie Strode's daughter. Again, family members. And then Halloween 5, again, Michael Myers, after being shot, blown up, run over with a car, somehow manages to survive, and he again tries to find his cousin, or niece. The Curse of Michael Myers. Michael Myers is hunting down Jamie Lloyd's daughter. H2O, he's again trying to kill Laurie Strode, because apparently this movie makes it seem like 3 through 6 did not happen. And that's basically H2O, and he doesn't succeed. Resurrection, Laurie Strode dies in that movie in the old franchise, so he finally succeeds in killing Laurie Strode. Resurrection isn't even a true Halloween, so... And then the original Halloween, I really automatically think Michael Myers is trying to kill Laurie Strode. And, I mean, and this does follow, Rob Zombie's Halloweens do follow the same pattern. Halloween 2, we find out that Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister, but of course everybody, already knew that. And then Friday the 13th, okay, we have... Jason's mom, Mrs. Voorhees, is the killer, and she ends up dying. At the end of the movie, we have this big, freaky opening of Jason coming out of the water and pulling Alice into the water. Was this a dream? Was it something that she imagined? Was it real? I don't know. It probably was a dream, but point is, he was a little boy in this movie. The second movie that was made barely even a year later, he's a full-grown adult, and he's out around killing people. These two kind of follow the same basic story. They try to reopen the camp in part 2, but I think part 2 takes place like 15 years later after this one. I'm not sure. But they try to reopen the camp, and Jason tries to stop him. The third movie, I'm not even. I think it's just teenagers trying to go to a camp just to have fun, and Jason ends up coming out and killing them. The point is, it kind of still takes place at the camp, so I can't criticize it that bad. Part 5 basically just takes place in the woods. Or part 4. And, you know, now Jason is just basically killing anyone that he sees. And he apparently dies in this movie because they call it the final chapter. And again, it bends the rules because we have a part 5, A New Beginning. And this movie takes place at a camp for mentally retarded people. So I guess it takes place, it apparently, I believe, takes place at the same camp that, part 1 and part 2 came up to. So I guess you can't blame it that bad. It still takes place at a camp. Part 6 takes place at a camp, once again, for children, so I can't criticize it that bad. Part 7 I have not seen because I don't want to see it. Part 8 takes place on a boat. Has nothing to do with the series whatsoever. It's totally weird. And it says Jason Takes Manhattan. The last 15-20 minutes of the movie takes place in Manhattan. Doesn't it, like, an hour and 10 minutes of this movie takes place on a boat. And then we have a crappy reboot that doesn't have anything to do with the original one. It just combines the first 3-4 movies. I wanted a remake. I did not want a reboot. And, apparently some other Jason movies that are involved in that franchise, Jason Goes to Hell, that one is totally garbage. That one, Jason can possess people, and he's like a freaking demon. I mean, that destroys Jason. I mean, we know he was a freak of nature, but, they didn't need to do it that badly. And then Jason X is about how Jason goes into space. I mean, that one is just retarded. I mean, there was actually a planned Jason X2. Yes, a Jason X2. I don't know why. And then we have Freddy vs. Jason, which I love. I mean, it's a really good movie. I mean, it's just a fun movie. I don't really consider it part of a franchise, but you get the idea. Nightmare on Elm Street, I don't know what they were doing with Nightmare on Elm Street. We have the original classic with Wes Craven, and then 2 automatically drifts away from the original movie. I mean, totally drifts away. The only connection from part 2 and part 1 is that the family is living in the same house that part 1 took place in. 3 has the chick from the first movie, the main chick, I can't remember her name, but her real name is Heather Langenkamp. And it's about how she's a doctor now, and she comes back and helps these people fight Freddy. Part 4, I mean, I haven't even seen all of these because they drift so far away from the first movie. But basically, horror movie franchises, usually after some of these, after the second movie, we automatically need to know stuff that we don't need to know. The second or third movie drifts away from the original masterpiece that we all wanted to see. And it just doesn't need to be happen. I think they could make at least a sequel or a follow-up that continues the story. This one takes place the same night after the first movie. So basically, I hope Scream 4 doesn't suck. I'm going to see it next weekend. I just hope it doesn't suck. And Deathly Hallows Part 2 is going to come out soon. And we have Breaking Dawn Part 1 coming out soon. So I hope they don't suck, because the books were great. But those are my reviews on those franchises and horror movie rules. Leave comments if for some reason you don't agree with me. But those are my reviews.